what's up? I'm Amin Dhillon, and welcome to my podcast. I'm sitting down with the movers and shakers and the stars to chat about life, love, business, and being a total boss. It's raw, it's candid, it's the stories behind the headlines. This is In Conversation. Mili Soch, welcome back to the podcast. How's it going?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's going great, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, first of all, Eid Mubarak.
Yes, thank you.
So Ramadan this year, a little bit different for you and your family.
Yeah, it has been. But on the bright side, it's also been good. You get to sit with yourself and practice yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, there's benefits to it. I look at it like a unique situation, and why not make most of it?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So there's lots to talk about because the last time I had a chance to chat with you, it was about a year ago, right? And
hmm
so much has happened in a year. So fill us in a year. What have you been up to? A few things, right? Just a few.
Yeah, a few things. Definitely lots of changes, mentally, spiritually. Um, Before I think the last time we spoke, I had just come from India at that
Mm-hmm.
point. Was dropping my first album, and right now, working on the second album.
Mm-hmm.
So a complete different mentality, um, and yeah, it's everything is completely different now, and I'm
So when you're
excited.
saying you're working on it, it's not finished yet, the second album.
No, unfortunately, because of the whole COVID-19 situation, everything got pushed back a little. Um, so yeah, I would say 75% of the album is done.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, and I'm excited because yesterday we launched the first single.
Mm-hmm. Demons.
So that was, yes, Demons, and that was amazing. So I'm
Yeah.
excited, really, really.
Okay, so let's talk about Demons. Tell us a little bit about the song and why you decided to make it your first single.
Uh, it just happened. To be honest, it was the first song I actually wrote for the album. I wasn't even intending to write an album. It just happened to be. I actually was going through a lot of depression and severe anxiety. I believe right after I dropped my first album, I wasn't really sure of what I wanted to do next. Wasn't really sure as an artist what I wanted to do next and how I wanted to express myself. Um, so I started going to therapy sessions, and at one of my sessions is when um, my therapist suggested that, hey, you already have talent and you can write music, so why not use it as therapy? And whatever you're feeling inside, because I was feeling a lot of guilt, a lot of shame from my past behavior as an adolescent youth, and I did not know how to process it at that point, and I felt like it was just holding me back a lot. So I started writing. I just started legit just writing these incidents that took place, which I was involved in and which I wasn't proud of, but did not know how to process. And I felt some kind of like a moment of clarity as I was writing it. And and yeah, it just started off with as a therapy session, really. And that just endorphed into a song. I ended up meeting XD Pro uh, at one of the events. I believe we also met in that event. I forgot exactly
It was
which
a
event it
Desi
was,
Fest,
but
one of Desi Fest's events, right?
I think so. Either Daisy, yeah, I think it was Daisy Fest actually. Yes. Um, we linked up at the studio. I told them what I was going through. So as I'm going through these uh, my own demons I was battling through, to depression and anxiety, I realized that I had to take everything under control. Like it's under my control, and I had to sit there and do a lot of study, on how the human brain works and what is neurology and how you can get stuck in a certain mind state and how to change your mind state and mind frame. Just because you've been through a certain, just because an individual has been through adversity, does not mean they cannot get a different outlook and different perspective and learn something from it. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
uh, at which point I came across Johari Window, and it really resonated with me. So Johari Window, just to keep it very basic, is just it's a technique for self improvement. It's to understand yourself better and also understand people better and to have a better relationship with self and others, and that just truly resonated with me. And comparing it to my last album was more of a proof of concept. I was trying to show that, hey, this English thing works. I was trying to represent that I'm from Toronto. However, I was really thinking that I had to do certain things as an artist. It felt like I had to put commercial songs out. I had to talk about clubs, or I had to talk about a girl, or you know, uh, and I think this is just it comes with experience for artists. Now I'm in a much more comfortable position. I don't feel like I have to do anything. I choose to do things. I want to do things. Now, if you and bringing back to demons, um, when I spit the verses that I wrote to XD, they really liked it. They said, "Hey, we should start working on this." I told them, "Hey, I have this idea of Johari window as a concept." I told them what it was. It really resonated with me. They really liked it. They really gave me, like a backing to say, "Yo, I think you should actually pursue this." Um, at which point I started writing. I was still writing for therapy for reasons, and at that point, um, I was writing more stuff about my parents and things I haven't processed as a kid, and I just kind of just shrugged it under the rug, kind of thing. Um, so yeah, it was just a lot of digging and sitting in my own bullshit, if I, for a lack of a better word, and uh, and just processing all that is how this album came about, including this song. So this song is just two incidents that took place um, in my life that I did not know how to process. And once we actually shot the video, I can actually remember the day we were shooting the video, I just felt so much release and so much lighter as a human being. Just it felt like a burden was lifted off of me, you know. Um, so yeah,
That's
that's how Demons came about.
So this album is really a we're getting kind of like an inside track into your mind and all the experiences that defined you.
Yes, 100%. Uh, One is my past experiences and how I used to deal with it before and sit with pain and not process pain and understand pain properly. Uh, like before I used to self-medicate, whether it was drinking, alcohol, smoking weed, whatever, it was a lot of self-medication, which was numbing a lot of the pain. It's more temporary release rather than, trying to figure out a permanent solution and how to live on life and have the best quality of life.
Hmm.
Um, and that's why this album is one, it's really really personal. More songs are coming out, more stories are coming out, true events that took place, some of the things from a perspective of a 7-year-old child, you know things that my dad was doing, for instance, and putting my mom through certain trauma and me processing that as a kid and not understanding how to process something like that.
Hmm.
um, so I'm addressing topics like that happen to me. I'm also addressing a lot of things that take place in the South Asian community. There's a song that I'm working on. It's called Choti. It's about two little girls. It's a complete story about, so each verse is dedicated to each girl. And it's talking about how in the South Asian community, when females especially go through some kind of, you know, the, we all grow up as kids, and growing up, we all make mistakes, especially the female. She's criticized a lot in the South Asian community for slipping up or just making a mistake as a young adult or an adolescent. And as a result, a lot of our girls either go completely out, or they get kicked out. They kick themselves out of the house and they're gone, or they get shunned upon by the community. And sometimes, especially back home and stuff like that, like a lot of girls, they look to suicide and they commit suicide because they don't know how to process, whether it's uh, shaming an individual, and especially because of social media and stuff right now, it's even harder. Um, so i I really thought I should address things like that, especially for young girls who don't know how to even open up to their parents. There's certain things within our culture that's kind of taboo to talk about to your parents, you know what I mean? Especially, like, say you like a girl, Like you can't go sit with your mom and be like, yo, even as a young kid, you can't sit there and be like, oh, I kind of like to have a crush on this girl. And they don't know how to talk about it. It's like anything to do with sex or crush or anything, you don't talk about it. And anything to do with emotions and relationship and love, we'll leave it, or romance, we'll leave it to Bollywood. And that's been the notion that I find most of our people carry with them. So I want to that's why I even made Choti, was to address those things, that you can't put pressure like that on kids, especially. You know what I mean? Especially as adults, man. It's just amazing to me when I see adults mistreating kids, because at one point you were a kid. I'm pretty sure at some point when you were a child, you still hold either really good memories and you go back to being when you were a kid. You're not sitting there thinking, hey, I'm this grown person now. You know what I mean? We all, and that's why the saying goes that we all have that kid in us, because we're not sitting there being like, oh, this is how old I am and this is my profession 24/7 in our head. No, we go back to that soul and who we are as kids when we had that soul, and we sit with that. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you. So it sounds like the rest of the album, because first I thought it was going to be about you, but it's also, it sounds like your observation. So are you trying to create an album that people can not only relate to, but also feel a positive outlook when they finish listening to the album? Like, is it supposed to motivate them or inspire them to take back control or take back their life? Or is it just to say, hey, I see you, I understand what you're going through, but I may not have the answer?
Yes, it's both actually. So one is to inspire. My intention this time to making the album was 100%, or even more, 1000%. Literally, uh, my intention was so true. You know what I mean? My intention was when I felt, uh, when I was down, and I had down times when I was younger, and I still go through down times. However, when I was younger, music helped me a lot. There were certain songs that moved me and let me know, okay, I'm not the only one going through this. Someone has it even worse than me. Someone's even in a worse situation. Um, and this time around, I wanted to make songs like that. I wanted to make songs where, again, speaking to my therapist, she just mentioned that, hey, you actually have a platform, so why don't you use that? Um, what started off as therapy now is getting formulated into a professional album. So the intention is to help others how I felt like I was helped to certain songs, through certain songs. And yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. Again, I don't have all the answers. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out, and it's never ending, right? Because you're trying to better yourself every day, and it's a never ending process. Um, and I find that you got to push yourself every time. I've been pushing myself every time. I've been pushing myself a lot lately, and that's why it's not easy for me to talk about my personal life like this. It's not easy for me to talk about my parents and put them, or even put my dad in a negative light. At the end of the day, he's a human being and he made certain choices. However, if I don't say my story, how am I going to let somebody else experience it through my lens? That, hey, I still made it through. Yes, that adversity is what made me who I am today. The lack of a father figure. Yes, I went through so many different routes and tried to take shortcuts in life. Um, but I learned the hard way, man. And if someone else can learn exactly this before they make their wrong decisions by seeing that, hey, this is what this guy did, um, and this is the backlash that he had to deal with, and therefore there's certain setbacks that come with it. um, I want people to understand that, and I want them to take something off of it. And again, it's not entirely dark. I'm also talking about how proud I am to be a Desi from the Six. That's the next song that's coming out, the next single.
Oh, yeah?
It's called Desi from the Six.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about Desis from Toronto. As much as, uh, you know, we recognize ourselves as Canadians or Torontonians, uh, we also embrace our culture, right? Which is the South Asian culture. And when we see each other, it's that love, because we have that extra little love because we're South Asians, but we also we know that we understand each other. If we have to go to India, or if we have cousins abroad, in India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, they don't understand what we understand with each other. You know what I mean? Like, there's still a Desi Canadian culture.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's what I love being, and I understood that, especially after coming back from India. I'm like, okay, I am not that as much as I'm Indian. That's why I like saying, Desh Mera Bharat, Sheher Hai Six,
Hmm.
right? So like, city is six, country is India, right?
Yeah.
So
Millie, don't you feel
um,
like in Toronto, especially the Desi community, we're really just like one family? Like, I really do find that, maybe in other places it's not like that. Maybe they have a bigger community, but here I feel like
right,
everyone knows each other, especially if you work in entertainment. Like, you and I have
yeah,
seen each other so many times, and then we see other
right,
people in the industry, and we all kind of just, help each other and support each other. And it's like, hey, if you have a
right,
question about, like, how do I do this? Or even, like,
right,
I know
right,
you've been at music panels where people are sharing their personal experiences and advice and are like, hey, hit me up if you need something. Like, I got it. Like, I really
right.
feel like we're very fortunate to live in a place where our community understands that we all have struggled to be in this industry and we're all trying to
Right.
lift each other up.
Yeah, man, it's really, I feel blessed, and I'm truly proud to be Canadian. And
Hmm.
as much as I'm proud to be Desi, I'm also proud to be Canadian, and you know what I mean? And it's awesome. You get to, um, as much as, yes, I am from India, I also find myself meeting other South Asians that come from various backgrounds. You know what I mean? Like they're small little like tribes, and when people break down their history of where they're from, it's really amazing, to be from Toronto, especially.
By the way, I got to ask you, because this
Yeah.
album is so personal and you do open up about your family life, how does your family feel about all this? Do they know? Like, have they had a chance to listen to the songs that have been recorded so far? Especially your dad.
uh yeah, so recently I sent my mom demons. Before that, I did not send it to her, so this is her finding out that, oh, you did shit like this.
Wait,
Oh,
but hold
sorry,
on. So
but
when you
yeah, you did
decided
stuff
you're
like that.
going to take the songs you're writing as part of your therapy and actually put it into an album, did you
Yeah.
let them know, like, hey, just to let you know, I'm gonna start like maybe recording, or was it like it's done and now the day before you get to listen to it?
No, no. So with my mom, I had to let my mom know. So that's something I could not put out or even start working. Well, I started working on, like, once the song is written, it's written. You know what I mean? It's there. Um, so once I did record it, and it was really a demo recording, but I just wanted her to know that, hey, this is what I'm saying. I know I'm saying it about you. I'm talking about dad. I don't really have a great relationship with my dad. However, from my side, I've patched things up, and I'm in a great place when it comes to that, when it comes to clarity with my dad. But I don't have an open talking relationship that much with him. So for me to reach out to him and say that, hey, I'm going to be shining some light on your past behavior, it's like, nobody wants to be talked about like that. You know what I mean? And again, I really have truly have love for my dad from the bottom of my heart. But there are certain things that he's done that I have to address, whether he's my father or not. The only reason I'm addressing is because it's personal and he's my dad. So when I told my mom, it was, hey, are you sure you want to do something like this? And I told her, I'm like, yo, I'm not doing it for just for me. One, yes, it's for me, to get it out of me, out of my system. Number two, I want others to hear it. So I'm not the only Western Desi, I would say, I guess, to come from a broken household and a dysfunctional family. You know what I mean? There are others out there, and I want to put my story out so it can help others. And once she understood that, she gave me the go ahead. Um, so yeah, that was good. I'm glad you asked that. That was, yeah, took me back to that moment.
Well, that is important because I think obviously family is going to listen to everything that you put out, right? And I just
Yeah.
wondered if you were okay with them realizing, because that's the thing about families and especially parents, they think sometimes that they're doing the best for their
Hmm.
kids, and it's only
Yes.
later they found out that it wasn't the best. And that can
Right.
be,
Right.
I would imagine, a very difficult situation to be in. You know, I think
Right.
parents, regardless of their own demons, want to do the best by
Yeah.
their kids, right? So
Right.
for your family to now see you and go, wow, like maybe we didn't really do best by him, that can be a really hurtful situation. So I wondered how you were handling that, because I mean, when you have family gatherings, it might get a little awkward.
True. So that particular song is not out yet. We're definitely planning to shoot some visuals for it.
Okay.
And because of the pandemic and everything that's going on, we are trying to be really creative, keep social distancing, be super creative in getting the story out visually so it matches the audio and what I'm saying. So we're still working on that. Hopefully, we start shooting soon. But going back to what you were saying, yes, it could get awkward, but sometimes uh, again, going back to the South Asian culture, is there's a lot of things that's obvious. It's obvious, but they don't want to talk about it.
What do you mean? What do you mean
So
what's obvious?
it's obvious that, for example, kids are born by having because you have sex, and then kids are born, right? So this is obvious, especially being grown. It's obvious, right? But in our culture, they don't want to talk about it. They want to make it seem it is a miracle. Don't get me wrong. Yes, it's a miracle that happens. But the act of it, the sex part of it that takes place, what? You want to pretend that does not happen?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, why can't we have proper sexual education? Um, and why is it always like it doesn't exist? That's what I
I
mean.
feel
Like
though
the
it's
obvious,
because
right?
the
So
generation before them didn't really address it, so they themselves don't know how to address it, I think.
yes, and and just like that, as human beings, there's a lot of obvious things, especially in the South Asian culture. Like it's obvious my dad treated my mom wrong. Everybody knew this. You know what I mean? So now that I'm saying something and I'm putting it on record, and now everybody get to listen to it, stream it, view it, now you have a problem because I addressed it on behalf of my mother, talking in the lens through a lens of a 7-year-old child. Hold on, you're going to hold me accountable for what? Speaking the truth? You know what I mean? So there are certain things that's obvious in our culture. Um, it's obvious that uh, girls get mistreated, not even mistreated, are shunned upon more for the same behavior that a male could do and get away with. You know, uh, I was one of those individuals. I was completely like that. My mentality was 100% like that. I was conditioned like that. I am not that person no more, and I'm proud to say it because I would probably bitch slap my old self if I could manifest that person in front of me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't recognize the old me anymore. Um, and therefore these understandings, right? That hey, come on, we all if we're talking about equal rights and we all are beings, truly inside we are beings, right? Everything else is exterior. I didn't choose to be uh, Indian. I didn't choose to be male. I didn't choose to be born Muslim. These are things. It's just a human experience that I'm going to make 100% of and try to make the best use of. You get what I'm saying? Just same with you. You didn't choose to be a female. You didn't choose to be Indian. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, it's that soul. And that's what, when someone says equal rights, to me, in my head, we're talking about our souls are equal. Of course, obviously, equal rights. We're not talking about physical strength. We're not talking about anything to do with the exterior. We're talking about everything to do with interior and everything to do with personal choices and that we make intentionally, you know, choices like unintentional. We don't have a choice when it comes to, again, where we're born, who we're born to, our siblings. We don't have a choice with any of these things. So we have to make the best of all of these situations. However, when it comes to personal choices in personal development and being better and being the best version of yourself and pushing your career or your mind state or your physical state to different limits, is what I'm gravitating towards nowadays. And that's what this album is about. And that's what even Demons is about. I had to purge these demons out of my system.
Yeah. I mean, let me ask you. It's interesting hearing you speak about that. For you, when you were saying you didn't get to choose being male, being Indian, um, your religion, anything like that, but you can choose how you deal with your circumstances, that has to be a decision. So I wanted to ask you that decision. Was there a specific incident that happened that one day you just snapped and you were like, you know what? No more. I do not like this path. I don't like the person I'm becoming. Like tomorrow when I wake up, it's going to be a new Mili Soch.
Yeah, it's definitely been a progression and understanding myself and trying to get a better understanding every single time from every situation. So yeah, it's been a growth. So for me, this quarantine is not it's not something new. You know, in my younger days, I was in house arrest for 2 years, so I had to quarantine myself. I couldn't step out. If I stepped out, I would be in jail, and I legit had to be by myself. Like I secluded myself. At which point I went through some serious depression. But thank God I came out of that situation with, no charges, no nothing. Everything was thrown out. And at that point, I was just I had this hood mentality, like that's where the entire world started and ended in my hood. And that's what it was.
Millie, I'm just going to jump in here for a second though, because I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people can identify with this. When you were, let's say, on house arrest, and you're
Mhm.
sitting there, stuck at home, not able to go, was that the time when you went, you know what? There's better for me. I know I can have a better life. Like, was there a specific incident where you're like, man, I got lucky. I could have gone to jail. I could have, like,
Yeah.
ended up just screwing up my whole future, but I'm getting that second shot and I'm not going to blow it.
Right, right. I definitely felt like it, but again, I did not know how to process it or change. Yes, I did have that mentality. Okay, I need to do something. I need to change. I did get a second chance. We're talking about like 8 months to freaking a year and a half in jail. So I got away from something like that, and I have to thank God for it. And I knew there was a higher power. Um, at that point, I came across holistic therapy for depression. Again, this is not for everybody. Everyone should do their own research. It worked for me. I came across a medicine called ayahuasca, and I ended up going to Peru for to a retreat. So I ended up taking the medicine. Um, and I took it, I believe, 4 times. And this was like in 2011, 2012, I think. Um, and yeah, that changed my life, man. It helped me. It motivated me because I knew I wanted to make that change. It's a process that you go through when you're taking ayahuasca. It's something serious. It's not fun. It's a true mental and physical purge. So, if you're mentally purging, um, you're also physically sweating, you're sitting in the toilet, you're puking. So it's not fun at all. It's not like, hey, I went to the jungle to get high kind of thing. So it helped me a lot. I did a year's worth of research before I went. I didn't just jump and take a plane. I knew exactly what I was getting myself into. I did mad research. I read scientific studies on it, and that actually helped me change a bit and made me understand, okay, at that point I was still questioning myself, do I still want to do music? I just almost went to jail, 2 years house arrest. I'm still having a hard time even communicating with people. I was really, imagine 2 years you're not talking to anybody, legit not talking to anyone. All I had is my dog. um, and I would just talk to my mom on the phone. So I even forgot how to communicate and socialize with people. I was just awkward, awkward. People would think I'm just this awkward dude. So I really had to question myself, do I really want to do this music? How can I do it if it's such an extroverted industry or profession that I'm choosing? So how do I end up doing this being such an introvert and especially having no confidence, and being super ashamed of my situation? So yeah, ayahuasca helped me at that point, helped me understand that I should go to school and learn the music business. Um, and since then, it's been a journey. After that, I believe a couple years ago, I had a serious car accident, and at which point I believe it's my first time even mentioning it. I got serious spinal injury from it, so I'm in chronic pain at all times, right?
Oh,
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I have chronic pain at all times, and uh, so now I'm on a different set of medications, and now I'm taking more. So I'm taking CBD oils, THC oils, and now when I'm smoking something, I know exactly what it is, and it's prescribed by a doctor, exact amount of THC, exact amount of CBD, whether it's sativa, whether it's indica. So I know exactly what I'm taking at which point I'm taking, so I'm not like blasted out of my face and super high, so I can't even communicate with someone, right? Um, so that also changed my life. And after the second album, truly, it's sorry, after the first album is when the pain started getting to me because this is something that I kept to myself. I wasn't expressing to people. I didn't want people to know because in my head, I'm Mili Soch. I can't go out and be like, oh, my back is hurting, or I can't stand for too long, or I had to cancel on people. So I'll just make up other excuses. And this time around, I had to tell myself I had to be true. If I'm going to make music, I'm going to put myself out there. I had to be true to who I am, and this is who I am. I suffer from chronic pain. What can I do? Make the best out of it. You know what I mean? Uh, and yeah.
But as a result, we're getting brand new music from you that is going to
Oh,
be, I
oh
think,
man, the results, the byproduct of this, trust me,
exactly. Which I
it's
think for most
crazy.
artists, I think when artists are, because artists are creative, right? Like you have to feel
Yeah.
inspired to put something out. Like you can't just be like, oh, I'll just magically write a song and, I'll put it out, right? Like you got to feel it. So that's why, as much as obviously we don't want anyone to go through pain or go through difficult circumstances,
Yeah.
the one upside from all of that is it allows you to really get in touch with yourself and be able to produce, be creative, and put something out. So that's why, if you look at any of the biggest legends, a lot of their albums, a lot of their songs were reflecting what they were going through at that time.
Yes, 100%. I'm so glad you brought it up, especially being in the industry and being in, especially as a journalist, for recognizing something like that because um, we're always targeted the commercial songs. We're always targeted super commercial artists. Nothing wrong with that. We all want to have good times, especially in times like this when it's quarantine, when we want to celebrate, when something good happens in life. Yes, you want to have those commercial songs and feel nice. Are we bumping those commercial songs all the time? Don't you want to listen to something with substance sometimes? So and again, going back to this album and the mentality for this album was exactly that. Like, why am I making songs to be someone that I am not? Yes, I feel I like commercial songs. I'll make songs like that, but with my own twist to it. I'm not trying to copy to be somebody else. So for you to recognize that, hey, there are artists and some of the best work that they've put out is from pain, or through pain and processing pain, is it's really nice to hear and refreshing to hear, especially in these times with sorry to say it, but like TikTok music, something that's so quick, and then what's next right away. Again, that's why even Demons, I purposely wrote it like this because I wanted to get it out of my system. Number one, number two, it's an actual event, so you have to listen to each verse to understand the storyline of what I'm talking about. But does not mean I had to make it boring. Does not mean I had to, I still put my flavor to it. I still give it a good cadence. I still made it bounce so you can bump your head and listen to it. Even if you want to jam to it, even though it's like stories, go ahead. You know what I mean? And also we all suffer from demons, right? Like we all have some sort of demons within us, and sometimes it could be trauma from childhood. Sometimes it could be shame that we still hold on to, and these memories are just filling up space within our head that we could use for peace and love
Mm-hmm.
instead. You know what I mean?
Well, what I really love about music is it's the universal language. It brings everyone together. And you know what? You don't really realize how important music is to an individual unless they go through something. Like, I mean, I'm sure you've gone through breakups before or tragedies or
Yeah,
you've lost someone. You never realize how much a song touches you until you're in that situation and a song comes on or you put on a song that just completely speaks to your feelings at that moment, right? Like, I mean, we've
right,
all done that where you've sat in the car and you're just trying to, like, I guess, reflect or process your feelings. You put on that
right,
song that you just know is going to be able to, maybe you don't know how to describe what you're feeling, but that song is going to help you. And
right.
I think that's why music is therapy.
Yeah, 100%,
So
100%.
there we go. We got the new album coming out. Okay, so Demons is out right now. I know
Yeah.
the whole album is delayed because of COVID-19. But what
Yes.
about the second single? You said you're working on it, and do we have a release date or anything? Do we know when we can
Uh,
expect it?
Second single, I think about a month or so, maybe four, I would like to say 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
Or Canada Day, that's what I hear from management. Canada Day, yeah,
Yeah, Amelie,
yeah,
I can't let you go without talking about how the industry has changed. So I remember the last time we talked, we were talking about
yes,
English, we were talking about Desi hip hop, um, and at the time it was difficult. It was a difficult genre to be in because not everyone understood it.
hmm
When you're in India, and I know you'd just gone to India the last time I spoke to you, it it's there's so many hip hop artists over there, but if you compare it to like Bollywood music or you like compare it to traditional, it's still a very niche market. So now, there's been obviously Gully Boy has come out. Now we're getting
right,
more and more rappers that are getting recognized in India, and there's actually even a record label by Nas that's in India to promote hip hop
right.
artists. So I was like, okay, I feel like since the last time I've talked to you, Desi hip hop is like having a moment finally and it's staying there. I wanted to know your thoughts. What do you think?
Yes, it's a blessed time for Desi hip hop right now, 100%. And shout outs to Nas for actually recognizing something like that and, going to India and doing that. Um, And man, it's good to see. It's really good to see all these like there's a rapper born in India every day now. It's crazy,
Hmm.
and it's really good to see that. And also I also see the difference. Just like if you break down American hip hop and you just, each region has its own sound. Each region uses their own lingo in their song to stick out and stand out. And I see that in India. Like the guys from Delhi put their own, they have their own way of talking. And even if you look at a lot of Bollywood movies, when it's centered around Delhi, they speak a certain way. And when it's centered around Mumbai, they speak a different way. And these guys are sticking to that. You know what I mean? They're sticking to the roots of what hip hop is and expressing uh, who they are to its truest form, using the slangs they use, talking the stories they talk. And I think one of the main things is someone like Nas sees that and recognizes that being um, one of the top fives on everyone list, the top five MC on everyone's list, legit, right? So for him to recognize that and do something like that, it's really awesome. Also, it only narrows, I can speak for me, it narrows my vision even more, makes my vision more clear. And I'm so grateful for this whole gully movement to even have started, because it made me understand that, okay, I need to start talking about me. I need to start. So before this, my mentality was I need to go to India. India is where it's at. I need to go live in Mumbai. I need to start making music from there. Okay, until I went to India, and then I realized, okay, I can't relate to these people, right? I know what they're going through. I know, but they talk about their story. I can't talk about my story here. You know what I mean? Like I'm going. It just didn't feel right. I have to talk about the diaspora of South Asians outside of India, and that's who I can speak on behalf of. And to be specific, even Desi's from North America, even be more specific from that Canadian Desi, and to narrow it down even more, Desi's from the six. So just a segue, Desi's from the six, the next single.
There we go. I love it. I see the difference in you since the last time we had a proper sit down interview to now. I do get that
Yeah,
sense. Like I do feel like you have a better understanding of yourself. Like I do sense even the confidence you're talking about. I feel that. So it's amazing, like the journey you've gone through in about a year. And now I'm like, geez, like in another year when I interview you again, maybe even sooner
right,
at the rate you're
right.
dropping music, I'm excited to see how you're going to keep progressing.
Yes, so am I, man. So am I. I actually, uh, I want to be an inspiration to myself. I can't speak to others, The only thing I can do is be the best version of myself every day, and hopefully help somebody else, help somebody else be the best version of themselves. So if anybody follows me on Instagram, you'll see I post a lot of motivational stuff. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not here. That's not my job here. You know what I mean? I'm a rapper. I'm a English rapper, and that's what I do. Anything motivational is for me first. I'm speaking to myself. Anything I post is so I can hold myself accountable. So I can say, hey, well, I posted this yesterday about, I don't know, like running, perhaps, like running 5K, for example, and how it's really good for you. And today I did not do that. Like I'm lying to myself. You know what I mean? Like it has nothing to do with me proving to do anything with to anybody, proving on social media or anything like that. I just took a social media break and I was on a social media detox for an entire month. I loved it. The only reason I'm even doing this is to keep in touch, put my music out. If not, you wouldn't have ever heard of Mili Soch because I wouldn't want to have social media. I just don't give a shit about it. Again, no disrespect for everyone that has it and people that have. It's just not for me. It takes a toll on my psyche. You get what I'm saying? And that's why I post a lot of motivational stuff. I started following more motivational accounts. So the most of the time, I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing positive people that are actually people like yourself that are actually chasing their careers, and you know, are it's really amazing to me, and I have a special respect for women like you, because now when I'm in the industry I see more and more women, especially in the South Asian industry. When we first started off, I see how women would get treated, and now to see how women are now holding certain positions and moving themselves. I'm not waiting for anything or anyone, they're making moves themselves. It's really amazing, and I have to show gratitude and respect
Oh,
to that, you know what I
we
mean? So thank you.
appreciate that. Thank you for recognizing the hustle. And right back at you. That's what I'm saying. I love our community. I feel like, it's grown so much and everyone is somehow connected and we all know each other. And I just love, this is why I'm kind of sad about the festival circuit being over, because summertime
Yeah,
was when we'd all see each other and,
right.
we would all be excited to see each other perform or just to even catch up. And it's like, when someone understands the hustle and someone
Yeah,
understands trying to bridge between east and west, like no one else is really going to get that other than our own community, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Okay, so before I let you go, though, I'm loving this whole self awareness and journey you've been on, because I think this is something that's important for everyone. I think, regardless of what kind of upbringing you've had, I think
Right.
as adults, it's important for us when you're thinking about where you want to go, your goals and your dreams. You got to put the work in. Nothing's handed to you,
Yes.
and you can't just assume, oh, I don't have any issues. Everyone has issues, right?
Right.
Especially if you're in the entertainment industry. So, what is some advice, maybe either some resources you used or just your personal advice to people that are watching right now that maybe are hurting too or struggling, or maybe they just have their own demons that they haven't addressed because you're now on the other side? What advice do you
Mhm.
have for them?
First things first, do not take anything personally. This also goes to myself. There's still issues that I'm dealing with people that I have been taking personally. So I'm speaking to myself as well. Do not take anything personally. Number two, I would recommend a lot of self-help books. Uh, you know, uh, those are some of the things that help me a lot.
Any in
Um,
particular that you really like?
yes, Eckhart Tolle, The New Earth. That's a crazy book that really helped me. Um, and then the next one was David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. That actually helped shift my mentality when it comes specific. Now I'm talking specifically about my chronic pain that I deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just reading that book from David Goggins just completely shifted my entire mentality and how to accept the pain. It's not going nowhere. Why fight it every day? And this is physical pain. Also, there's another one that I recently read. I think it's called Blind by, oh, sorry, it's called Blink by Malcolm Gladwell.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really good book. That actually helped me understand instincts and follow your instincts more than getting too caught up in your head and making decisions based on ego, right? And that's what it is. It's all about understanding self. So I think if we all start off by sitting and understanding, why do we react a certain way? Why do we uh, feel certain things, or why are we super emotional about certain things? And we can always drive it back to some kind of incident that happened when we're kids. And it's most of the time it's something like that. Once you address that situation, you get a different perspective. So first thing I would say is do something like that, is you know read self-help books. um, these are just a couple of books that helped me. There's still more books out there. I also love reading psychedelic stuff or watching a lot of psychedelic podcasts. Also a podcast, or sorry, YouTube interviews I watch. I think it's called Impact Theory by Tom Billieu. Yeah, I watch a lot of that. That helped me out tremendously, tremendously. Uh, I can't over exaggerate enough of how much it's helped me. Like it's just not enough. So Impact Theory by Tom Billieu, amazing, amazing, amazing platform to keep an eye out on. Other than that, man, just meditation, just wake up early. Like that's what's been helping me, waking up early. However, I should confess that I wake up early today,
That's all right.
even yeah, so last because of the video, trying to get the campaigns going and all that stuff. So trying to push out the press
Hey,
releases.
not every day you're
So
gonna be
yeah,
perfect, right? It's all about you waking up every day and trying. We're all gonna have off
yes,
days.
yes, yes, yes. Exactly, exactly. And that's another thing. So before, every time I would fall off, whether it's eating a tub of ice cream, and I told myself I'm not going to, or not waking up early for that matter. Every time I felt guilt, um, I only doubled down on what I was doing. So
Hmm.
whatever bad I was doing, instead of one tub, I would eat another tub the next day and the next day, and until I felt even more shitty.
Hmm.
So doing research on that now, going research and finding out that what is that about, and then there's actual research that shows every time you feel guilty as human beings about something, because you feel so much guilt, you know what you end up doing? You go and do it even more, because you're now you're like, well, I did it already, so I might as well do it. So you do extra. You harm yourself, and it's self-sabotage, right? That's what you end up doing, self-sabotage. So stay away from guilt, feeling guilt because of falling off. The trick is to just pick back up again. You know what I mean? And also keep yourself uncomfortable. That's been helping me out.
I like
I'm
that.
always I like putting myself in uncomfortable positions, whether it's taking cold ass showers, whether it's going through the pain, putting up with the pain, stretching every day, waking up early, even though I love to sleep, yo. I love to sleep. I'm a fucking lazy ass guy, yo. Like I'm lazy as fuck. Okay. But I wake myself up early before even I can have a thought, because the first thing in my mind is, what's more important to me? What's more important to me, sleep or to make an impact, right? And impact comes first. So therefore, I'm going to wake up. So make yourself uncomfortable all the time, because it only leads to greatness on the other side. Is what I found out so far. So
I absolutely love that. I think that's important for us to have. I think as human beings, sometimes we just don't, we purposely avoid uncomfortable situations, right? Like we just program, we're like, enough. I just want to know what I'm
yeah,
getting into. But where you really grow and where the opportunities really arise are when you put yourself in uncomfortable situations. And that's not like meaning unsafe situations, just
yes,
situations where, for example, as people in the industry, maybe trying out a new type of material, maybe introducing yourself to someone in the industry that you really look up to, but you would never go
right,
up to them, right? Maybe working with
right,
someone new that normally be like, oh, I don't think we'd probably mesh, but then
right.
you never know what will come out of it, right? But if you don't try, you'll never grow.
Yes, yes, and it's so funny that you said that, because that was one of the things that even made me approach XD Pro. Because before I was this guy where I felt like, again, it's this ego talk, right? Uh, I'm not going to say what's up to them. They know who I am. They should say what's up to me. Or even I was so excited that they said come to the studio and work with me, because I'm already fans of these guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I
They're
already
amazing.
love their work, and I always wanted a song with these guys. You get what I'm saying? So when they said, "Hey, you should come to the studio," I was fanning out, but I wasn't showing it. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, no, I'm a gangster, bro. I'm not doing this shit. But when I seen them at the video shoot, by then my whole mentality had shifted. When I seen them, I had to express myself, and that's one more thing I think we're lacking. You know, put yourself in that uncomfortable situation where you're telling somebody else, "Hey, your work actually inspired me. I'm super fanning out. I'm so excited that you're working with me. I'm so excited that we're even talking, right?" Um, and put it out there. I don't care what they think. They can think that, yo, look at this guy acting like a groupie. You can think whatever you want. That's in your mind. In my mind, I want to express how you made me feel, especially when it's something that's a positive reinforcement. You know what I mean? So I was telling these guys that, yo, before I was like, nah, I'm not going to tell these guys how excited I am, even when I went to the studio. But when I seen them at the video shoot, I was like, yo, I have to tell you these guys. you guys that I really looked up to you guys, and thank you so much for being part of this, and expressing myself. So again, it goes back to that. Like if you see somebody and you really love their work, like fuck all that social media shit, man. Like why am I just going to like it on social media, leave a comment on social media, but when I see you I don't express myself to you and say yo. And every time, just because you're, for example, you're a female and expressing myself to you doesn't always mean that every dude is flirting with you, right? Or vice versa, you know what I mean? And that's also another stigma because of these bad apples. And at these networking events, we're here to network, you know what
Yeah,
I mean, and further our careers and see how we can work together.
absolutely.
But I guess sometimes girls and guys can hit on each other and
But I
start
think
thinking that
people
everybody's
can,
like that
they
now.
know when
So
it's coming from a place that's sincere.
yes, and that's why I have so much love for you, because you're always about your art, and you're always about what can you do different and how do you stand out, and it shows, right? You're always standing out from the people that are in your industry. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And I have to express that to you, because if I don't, who else is? You get what I'm
yeah.
saying? If I don't be true to it, who else is? Because I see something that's so genuine, I have to say it. If not, everything is going to be fake, like how everything is on social media. Therefore, if when someone's putting true content and being who they are, yo, just don't fucking comment. Don't just fucking like that shit. When you see them, express yourself, you know?
I agree and I appreciate it. That's what I'm saying. I love our community because you know what? I just feel like you need that support from your own industry. You need it because it's a hard industry. Sometimes you get no feedback and it can be a very lonely career, right? Because you're
Yes.
like you're probably like me. I feel like a lot of creative people end up kind of just being isolated because they're inside, they're thinking, they're trying to like get out what their message is, and you can't do that in a loud environment. You got to just be quiet and kind of reflect and go through the progress. So that's why I'm actually enjoying this quarantine too, because originally I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? But I'm like, you know
Right,
what?
right.
There's ways to stay connected. And I feel like this is
Yes.
actually more intimate. Because I'm going right into
100%.
your home, you're coming right into my home. And it's like,
Yeah.
there's no like busyness. There's no like, oh, makeup artist, cameraman, let's do this and this. It's just you and me chatting.
Right,
Let's
right.
keep it real.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really
yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
yeah. For sure.
Awesome.
For
Okay,
sure.
so much is coming up. We're so excited. I gotta let you go because I know you got lots more to do, including some
Yep.
celebrations with the family. Before I let
Yes.
you go, though, any message you have for your fans and their support, what it means to you over the years?
Uh, it means the world and everything. To everyone, I want everyone to only like my music, if it made you feel a certain way. I don't want you to like it because you know me, because we're friends, because I don't know, we went to high school together or whatever the fuck. Like it because it actually impacted you. That's what I want. It actually, and you actually genuinely like it, right? Even if you didn't have an impact, you didn't go through those adversities. Uh, like it for what it is. You like quality music, like it. I don't want any fake love. Uh, and thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of. Uh, sorry, it's my first time somebody asked me this, and I feel like I'm actually talking to fans out there. So
Yeah.
uh, thank you. I'm thank you so much for everything. I really don't know what to say, and I truly cannot be appreciative enough. So thank you very much.
Love it. Sending you lots of love.
And sorry, and you'll always only get authentic. Anything that comes out from my mouth in my music is always going to be authentic.
Okay, I know I can't high five you, but we're gonna do a virtual high five here.
Yes.
There you go. So good.
I
Reconnecting.
feel like we're blessing each other.
Bless you. Bless you.
Ashirwad, you know?
Bless you. Hey, blessings, cheers, whatever we needed, right? It's all good vibes.
Yes, 100%.
Ooh, you know I like it. Ooh, you so enticing. Ooh, I'm so excited. Your look the bestest. Ooh, I wanna bite it. I can see it in your eyes. Don't deny it. I know you like it. I know you need that, and I'll supply it. Got that exclusive, and you should try it. The aura that I'm feeling, chilling, it does something to me. I'm shooting half-court shots. I miss it. Just forget.